Street Fighter 6, Street Fighter 6, Street Fighter 6, a game that's quickly become one of the most well-received fighters in years, proudly continuing the franchise's legendary legacy. With a solid blend of returning icons and fresh faces, the roster already offers plenty. But as always with fighting games, we're never truly satisfied. We want more! Following the additions of Eleanor, m.bison, Terry Bogard and Mai Shiranui, the internet is once again buzzing, this time thanks to fresh leaks that claim to reveal the full Season 3 DLC lineup. Now, take it all with a pinch of salt. But according to corporate gaming news outlets, these leaks come from a source who correctly revealed DLC roster members previously. So in a world of rumours, this one's got pedigree. If leaks were stocks, I'd be buying in. With all of that said, today I'll be sharing my thoughts on the 4 fighters rumoured to be joining the fray, and of course what their arrivals could mean for the ever-evolving world of Street Fighter 6. Hello ladies and gentlemen, Big Daddy Top Hat here. These are the supposedly leaked Season 3 characters for Street Fighter 6. One of the rumoured returning fighters is none other than Sagat, the towering Muay Thai king who's been kicking heads and tiger uppercutting his way into our hearts since the original Street Fighter. Don't get me wrong, his reappearance, if true, is both exciting and just a little bit, well, tiresome. On one hand, Sagat is a legend, a towering symbol of old-school Street Fighter brutality. His iconic tiger shots and crushing knees make him a powerhouse in the hands of those who can master his zoning game. And let's not forget his historical importance. He's Ryu's original rival, the man who gave him that famous chest scar, and a former final boss. Seeing Sagat rendered in the RE engine with all the modern flair Street Fighter 6 offers could be absolutely glorious. Lore-wise, Sagat has always occupied a fascinating space in the Street Fighter mythos. Originally the main villain of the very first game, featuring as a brutal towering final obstacle, this proud athlete is an embodiment of pride, discipline and Muay Thai excellence. But following his defeat at the hands of the young Ryu, Sagat's arc shifted dramatically. No longer just a villain, he evolved into one of the series' most honor-bound and complex characters. In Street Fighter 2 and beyond, we saw him align with Shadaloo under m.bison's command, but never out of malice. It was pride, bitterness, and the pursuit of true strength that drove him. Over time, Sagat distanced himself from the criminal organization's chaos and began seeking redemption, choosing to train in isolation, reflect on his past, and pursue a purer form of martial discipline. By the time of Street Fighter 4 and 5, he was less a villain and more of a stoic warrior monk type. If he truly is returning for Street Fighter 6, it would be interesting to see where Capcom places him into the mix, especially when we consider that m.bison is back again too. Does he return as a mentor figure, a wandering rival seeking purpose, or perhaps a final test for Luke and the rest of a new generation? Whatever the case, Sagat's inclusion adds a touch of gravitas and continuity, reminding us that Street Fighter isn't just about flashy newcomers, but also the enduring legends who shaped the fight in the first place. But here's the thing, we've obviously been here before. Sagat's already had his triumphant comeback in Street Fighter 5 after sitting out most of the game's early life. So while his inclusion would absolutely please longtime fans, especially zoning players who miss his unique pace, it's hard to deny that it also feels just a little bit safe, a little bit too predictable. Yes, Sagat is a classic, but in a game that's already stuffed with early Street Fighter characters, it would be nice to see Capcom dig a bit deeper and bring back fighters who have not been given adequate time to shine. Say, Sean for example. Capcom have done that man dirty. Still, if the king is truly returning, he'll command respect and probably eat half your health bar with a well-timed knee. So I am not completely complaining. And just a quick reminder, if you haven't tried the phenomenal Street Fighter 6 yet, you can grab it using my discount link for a ridiculous 74% off. I've also got deals on the character passes with up to 53% off of the Season 1 and 2 passes. And if you fancy something new, you can even get 33% off of the brand new fighting game Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. Use my links to save up to 90% on thousands of games. So, happy gaming and happy shopping. Another name surfacing in the Season 3 leaks is Sea Viper, the flame-haired femme fatale from Street Fighter 4 known for her flashy spy gadgets, crisp design and frankly wild mobility. And honestly, her return would be an interesting one, though it's not without its caveats. While she has not been given the spotlight in recent years, Capcom once had immense faith in C. Viper, so much so that she was positioned as the breakout star of Street Fighter IV. She wasn't just another new fighter, she was the poster girl for the game's fresh direction. Viper was front and centre in the marketing materials, story cutscenes, and early promotional art, clearly intended to be the next-gen Chun-Li for the modern era, cool, mysterious, and marketable. But despite Capcom's best efforts, something didn't quite click. Her complex moveset alienated casual players, and her secret agent backstory lacked the fiery charisma needed to make her iconic. Then came Super Street Fighter IV, and with it, Juri. The South Korean taekwondo sadist instantly stole the spotlight. With her edgier design, chaotic energy, and easier to grasp fighting style, Juri quickly became the fan favourite, effectively sidelining C. Viper in the process. It was as if Capcom quietly shifted gears, realising who the audience really wanted to rally behind. And from that point on, Viper faded into the background. But, in my opinion at least, that doesn't mean she doesn't deserve a second chance. On the exciting side, Viper's playstyle is unlike almost anything else in Street Fighter. She's a high execution character that combines fast movement, aerial mix-ups, and gadget-powered specials that feel like they were lifted straight from the Marvel vs. Capcom series. Her seismic hammers, flaming kicks, and sudden feints make her a technical marvel, ideal for players who love big brain setups and stylish combos. Seeing her reworked with modern visuals and mechanics could be a real treat. Now, lore-wise, C. Viper adds a different flavour to the Street Fighter narrative: corporate espionage. She's not a martial artist in the traditional sense. Instead, she's a CIA agent working undercover within the sinister SIN organisation, the weapons research branch of Shadaloo, during the events of Street Fighter IV. Her role was part spy thriller, part super tech commando. While the rest of the cast was trading fists over honour and rivalry, Viper was hacking terminals and reporting to Langley. What makes her stand out is that she's one of a few characters juggling fighting with being a parent. Her motivation for getting tangled in all this shady business is providing for her young daughter. It gave her a more grounded edge, something you rarely see in a series full of wandering warriors and possessed kung fu maniacs. If she does return in Street Fighter VI, it raises some compelling questions. Is she still a spy? Has she moved on from government black ops? Could she even appear as a more veteran figure, now acting independently, or training the next generation of covert combatants? These are intriguing questions to ponder. But here's the other side of it. While C. Viper is unique, she's also a bit of a relic from the Street Fighter IV era, a character that never fully gelled with everyone. Her overly techie moveset kept her from becoming truly mainstream, and she hasn't exactly been in high demand for a comeback. With Street Fighter VI pushing so many fresh and experimental characters, bringing back Viper could feel a little like retreading old ground, especially when there are still so many classic faces waiting for their shots. So yes, she's stylish, yes, she's cool, but it remains to be seen whether the wider fan base will greet her with excitement or indifference. But what do you think? Has enough time passed for C. Viper to finally get the recognition Capcom once hoped she'd achieved? Could a reworked moveset and some sharp narrative development make her relevant again in the modern Street Fighter landscape? Or do you think her moment has long since passed and this slot would have been better served going to someone else? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'm genuinely curious to see where the community stands on this one. Another name being thrown around in the Season 3 leaks is Alex, the hot-headed grappler from Street Fighter 3, famously billed as the face of the franchise's future back in the late 90s. And while his potential return in Street Fighter 6 would be welcomed by some, it's also a bit of a complicated affair. Lore-wise, Alex comes from New York, and was originally motivated by revenge and justice, entering the Third World Warrior tournament to track down Gil after his mentor Tom was hospitalised. He represents the working class hero archetype, brash, determined and loyal to a fault. Alex's push in Street Fighter 3 has always felt oddly reminiscent of Lex Luger's ill-fated attempt to replace Hulk Hogan in early 90s WWF. Much like Luger, Alex was a muscular, all-American figure, seemingly manufactured to embody patriotic heroism and physical dominance. Capcom decked him out in red, white and blue, gave him a tough guy attitude and positioned him as the new poster boy meant to carry the franchise forward, just as Vince McMahon tried to mould Luger into Hogan's successor, complete with stars and stripe entrances and the infamous Lex Express bus tour. But just like Luger, Alex never quite connected with the fan base in the way his creators hoped. He lacked the magnetic charisma and deeper legacy that the audience had already attached to their established favourites. The parallels are almost uncanny. Both men were muscle-bound centerpieces of bold marketing pushes that fizzled out because fans weren't ready to move on from the icons they'd already loved. On the gameplay side, Alex is all about explosive power. He's a close-range brawler with command grabs, meaty normals, and big damage payoffs for taking risks. His playstyle rewards bold, confident decisions and punishes hesitation, making him a favourite among players who enjoy brawling their way through the neutral game. Seeing him return with a Street Fighter 6 makeover, both visually and mechanically, could give Capcom the chance to finally elevate Alex to a tier of relevance they've always wanted for him. But let's be honest, Alex's history is a bit of a rough ride. When Street Fighter 3 launched, Capcom made the bold and at the time divisive choice to push him as the new protagonist, sidelining Ken and Ryu in the process. Fans weren't ready to let go of the classics, and Alex's vanilla personality and American pro wrestler design didn't do much to help. Despite being positioned as the new face of the franchise, he was quickly overshadowed by characters like Dudley, Makoto, and of course the returning legends once they were patched back in. If he does return in Street Fighter 6, the real opportunity lies in redefining him. Is he still that hot-headed bodybuilder, or has he matured into a more seasoned veteran, perhaps ready to guide the next generation, rather than compete with legends who always outshone him? Another curious name surfacing in the Season 3 leaks is Ingrid, a character who's long straddled the line between obscure oddity and cult favourite. First appearing in the much maligned Capcom Fighting Evolution, Ingrid has always felt like a guest character in her own franchise. If the leaks are true, and she's finally joined the Street Fighter 6 roster, it would mark her most significant appearance in the series to date, though not without raising a few eyebrows. Lore-wise, Ingrid has always been something of a narrative enigma. In various appearances, she's hinted at being a godlike entity who has control over time and fate, and has even claimed to be the original source of psycho power, the same energy that fuels Bison and Rose. The problem, none of it has ever really been treated as canon. Her appearances are scattered across multiple spin-offs and non-canon side content, making her feel disconnected from the core Street Fighter universe. Ingrid's appearance in Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max, the PSP version of Alpha 3, is one of the more unusual inclusions in the franchise's history, and it's often a source of confusion and debate among fans. She was added exclusively in the Alpha 3 Max port in 2006, alongside a few other new characters like Eagle and Maki from Capcom vs SNK 2. However, unlike those characters, Ingrid had never previously appeared in a mainline Street Fighter game at all, so her addition to the Alpha timeline was strange from the outset. But what is intriguing is that she treats the events of Alpha 3 as a minor detour, and returns to her own plane of existence at the end of her story, suggesting she's above the timeline entirely. Most fans and even Capcom developers tend to treat Ingrid's appearance in Alpha 3 as non-canon, or at best a what-if scenario. This has left her floating in a sort of narrative limbo, where she exists within the games but doesn't fully belong to the mainline continuity. Her godlike traits, unexplained origins, and minimal interactions with the rest of the cast all suggest she was more of an experimental addition than a properly integrated Street Fighter character. Gameplay-wise, Ingrid is unlike anything else in Street Fighter. Rather than traditional martial arts, she floats across the screen with elegant, almost magical attacks, casting orbs of energy, warping through the air, and generally feeling more like a character from a fantasy RPG than a gritty street-level brawler. Her potential inclusion could be a breath of fresh air for players who enjoy unconventional playstyles, but this also risks clashing with the grounded tone Street Fighter 6 has worked hard to establish. She's flashy, whimsical, and otherworldly, three traits that are divisive at best in this franchise. She has a distinct visual appeal and a fan base that's vocal, if niche, but she's also become symbolic of that era where Capcom didn't seem to know what kind of tone it wanted for Street Fighter. Bringing her into Street Fighter 6 could either be a bold creative twist or a decision that confuses longtime fans who are still waiting for more grounded favourites to return. If she's to be properly integrated into the game, Capcom would need to do some serious narrative legwork to justify her presence and ground her within the game's current world. Whether these leaks turn out to be true or not, it's clear that each of the 4 rumoured characters come with their own set of pros and cons. Still, if nothing else, these choices show a willingness to mix nostalgia with experimentation, and if Capcom can reimagine them properly, they might just surprise us all. And don't forget, I can get you 74% of Street Fighter 6, up to 53% off the game's character passes, and if you fancy something new, you can get 33% off the brand new fighting game Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. Use my links to save up to 90% off thousands of games, so happy gaming, happy shopping, and cheerio!